I love this working with dead guy stuff. I have a lot of questions, but I think I know you always say that we have a lot of questions and you always only have one answer, but I still have questions. I've been listening to you for about a year, and I understand exactly how I got here, and it was so liberating to have that understanding finally come to me through your message. And so for the last year, I've been tweaking, feeling good about where I am, and I'm getting a lot better at it. And it's also good to have a belief confirmed that I've held for many years that somehow or other I could get where I'm wanting to go. I didn't know how, and I don't exactly specifically know how, but I understand it's not my job.
It's a little tricky, isn't it, when you have a lot of evidence of being somewhere that you really don't want to be. It's hard not to beat the drum of that, but still that's what's required. That's
Right.
why we're talking about these emotional journeys where you just think thoughts that feel a little better. So how are you going about that?
How am I going? Well, some days I'm stuck in a revolving door, and some days I understand absolutely that my life is always changing, and I'm using the emotional journey, and I'm using the virtual reality to practice feeling good.
All right, so how do you feel about where you are emotionally? In other words, how would you describe, if you were trying to, in one or two words, describe your opinion, your emotional opinion of where you are, what word would you use?
My emotional opinion, temporary.
We put those words together deliberately and newly because we feel with so many of you, especially those of you who are emphatically where you don't want to be. And so when we used the word emotional opinion, what we meant was the emotions that you feel really are sort of self-judgments about where you are. So when you say, I'm joyful, you're sort of announcing to the world something different than when you say, I'm discouraged. And the reason that we state it as an opinion is because in either case, it's only a perception. And this is the thing that we want to help you to understand. If you can get it, that the way you feel about where you are is a perception, not a necessary response to a reality, now it can change easily. Did you hear that? In other words, the way I feel, my emotional opinion of where I am is perception. That's why we say up here in the range of joy is perceived freedom, and down here in the range of despair is perceived bondage. But it's all perceived, it's all perception, because no one else can grant it to you. So or take it from you. Right. So it's all perception. So we want to see if we can feel the emotional, vibrational opinion that you have of where you are. And to us it feels more like discouragement than anything else that we can feel around the vibe. The words don't matter, but if we had to pick a word that matched it, that's where it lies.
It changes a lot, but I guess I would have to say that discouragement is consistent. It comes back consistently.
So would you say discouragement is the low end of your moving needle, or the high end?
No, now it's the low end.
And what's on the high end?
Unreachable, but what's on the high end?
What's on the high end? In other words, I'm discouraged that often and hopeful sometimes. Does it go from discouragement to hopefulness?
Yeah.
So
optimism. Sometimes.
So your emotional journey is you just want to feel hopeful more than you feel discouraged, which means when something happens that makes you feel discouraged, you just got to do some talking that makes you feel more hopeful. Now, as you all are listening in, are you buying any of this malarkey about the emotional journey? In other words, are you starting to understand that that really is where it's at? Because it's a challenge to see someone or to yourself be in a place that you know you do not want to be and have someone talk to you about changing your attitude. And yet, changing your attitude or changing your mood or changing your opinion or changing the way you feel is changing your vibration, which is necessary before anything else can change. And so we want you to hear us, and you're the best one in the room, in the best position to hear us. We want you to say, and mean it, the whole reason I do this work is because hope feels better than discouragement. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get out of this chair. I'm not doing it because I want to live my life differently. I'm doing it for one simple reason. Hope feels better right now than discouragement. Right now, my life is right now. 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 It's right now. It's right now. And right now, hope feels better than discouragement right now. Never mind anything else. All of my power is right now. This is my control. I can feel hope or I can feel discouragement, and I can beat the drum either way and really get hope feeling solid and sure, or really get discouragement all inflamed again. I've got a choice. So when you use words like a revolving door, it's clever and everybody understands it. It's amusing, but it's not all that helpful. In other words, that sounds that quite often when Jerry and Esther approach a hotel that has a revolving door, Jerry will spin a few times in it. It always really embarrasses Esther because he's just trying to be playful, but there's something about it that's just odd.
But, well, you're right, and it is clever, and people can relate to it. But it doesn't. Also,
but it's beating the drum of something. What it says is, I've been here a long time, and I'm sort of caught in this place, and that is a statement that perpetuates more discouragement than hope. So it's not a helpful statement. And since you now know what your journey is, now you want to start guiding your conversation to more hopeful things, or to subjects that feel good when you approach them.
Okay. I have a specific question then related to this, and I have a decision. And I understand, theoretically, I understand the action journey versus the emotional journey. Theoretically, I understand that.
We know you haven't really got it, or you wouldn't be about to ask the next question.
Right. And it's really what I need help with.
Well, let us give you the answer before you ask it. In other words, let's get to the solution before the problem.
Okay.
Don't take any action at all before you move on this emotional scale. In other words, tell anyone who's involved, not now. Not now, too soon, not now. I have some feeling better to do first.
Okay, so that's where so then the goal around that is to be feeling the hopeful or the optimism more often as my dominant vibration than the discouragement.
Yes. Because once you get there, then the decision will not need to be made. In other words,
so the action wouldn't need to be taken?
The action will not be necessary at all once you clean up your vibration.
I guess I want to say, are you sure? I can't. I'm sorry, I can't imagine asking you that, but here I am.
We're sure.
Okay.
You see, we understand vibration, and we understand why everything that happens. And we can see clearly into your future experience. And we know how close you are to shifting your vibration. And we can feel how powerful the desire is within you and how much pre-paving you've launched into your future experience. And we know that this short, easy to achieve emotional journey from fear and discouragement into hope and positive expectation not only can be easily achieved, but will give you such a different vantage point that then you won't believe that you even asked that question. Not only will you not be able to believe our answer, you'll be astounded that you asked the question. Really.
So part of the thing that's been hanging me up is that I totally believe that it's possible for someone in my situation with my diagnosis or whatever to change that. I believe when you say that you can be or do or have anything that you desire.
We believe that you believe that. We can feel that you believe it hypothetically and theoretically, and we can feel that you believe it for others, but we do not yet feel that you believe it for yourself.
That's
and
the
the reason
glitch.
you don't is because you've got all this evidence with all of these statistics and all these facts that say otherwise, and all of these voices. And so what we are wanting to say to you is, it's time for you to trust your own guidance. It's time for you. We just love it when someone gets themselves into a situation, and you're not there yet, but it happens all the time. We just love it when somebody gets themselves into a situation where they have absolutely no recourse. No one is offering them any action whatsoever. So they finally decide, well, I guess I might as well clean up my vibration. We love it when you finally do the only thing that ever works anyway first, you see. So, and we are appreciating your willingness to play with us so that we can use this powerful example to help everyone understand that the emotional journey is not that hard. And if you're not making the emotional journey, you're not trying that hard. What happens is, so you got some vibration going and you don't really know you've got it going, and it results in manifestation. Mm-hmm. And then you start responding to your manifestation. So then you start wanting special favors, and then you start wanting the world to treat you differently, and then you start asking people to understand where you're at. And then you start asking people to then compensate in some way in order to make up for some deficiency that you feel. And before you know it, you got this whole thing going on that says, this is who I am, and now these are what my needs are. And you sort of, without meaning to, you're asking everybody else to do something different in order to accommodate you. Right. And you just, and it doesn't take you're not the only one doing it. A lot of people are doing it. And so then what happens is you lose your sense of empowerment. You lose your sense of being able to do anything for yourself. Absolutely. But the trouble is, nobody else can do anything for you. Mm-hmm. In other words, there are not enough surgeries or medicines or doctors or brilliant minds in the world to compensate for energy that's flowing in the opposite direction of what is wanted, you see. That's why as much as researchers and scientists come up with cures for problems that people have launched into their future, as quick as one cure comes, they throw another disease out there. Right. Aren't you astonished at the number of new diseases that keep being created? It's not just new labels, it's new symptoms, new results, new body parts doing new things that they've never done before. Physical beings mutating constantly into the fearsome thoughts that they've launched in their future experience. And then they don't do anything about cleaning up their own vibration. Instead, they demand society to come up with the cure. And we say, it's a vibrational cure. It's an emotional cure. And you show that to yourself when you realize that if you don't find the emotional cure or the vibrational cure, that even though someone might give you something that can head off some symptoms, that then your negativity squirts around in another way and gives you some other symptom. And so then you're just chasing symptom after symptom after symptom after symptom, when what you're wanting to do is to get at the heart of it. And at the heart of it is despair instead of hope. Mm-hmm. Or worry instead of wonder, or anger instead of joy. In other words, it's all of that. And so you just talk yourself up the emotional scale just a little bit at a time, and you pat yourself on the back really, 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 really often as you show yourself, hey, I think I feel a little better. And you stop comparing how you feel to anybody else, because of course you're not going to feel as good as people who are up walking around. It's normal that you would feel confinement under these conditions. That's normal. It's normal that you would feel some fear over some of the diagnosis. We're not saying to you that you're wrong to feel those emotions. What we're saying to you is you're feeling those emotions in response to some things. And just like the noise next door, which seems to have subsided substantially, all of the static in your life that's causing you grief will subside in time too. Yes. Good.
Okay, thank you so much.